Hi, and welcome to today's video. In this video, we're going to look at the difference between VLOOKUP and XLOOKUP. But before we dive in, what exactly does VLOOKUP do? The VLOOKUP function is one of the commonly used functions in Excel if you work with data often. Let's say you want to find a missing value from a primary table, and this value is present in another table. You're going to use VLOOKUP to pull the data from the other table and bring it to the primary table. What about XLOOKUP? What does it do? XLOOKUP does exactly what VLOOKUP does, but this comes with additional features which makes it more flexible and nicer to use. Let's now look at the difference between these two. The return value in VLOOKUP only looks to the right, while the return value in XLOOKUP looks either the right or the left. VLOOKUP looks up values only in columns, while XLOOKUP looks up value in both rows and columns. VLOOKUP returns only one value, while XLOOKUP returns more than one value. VLOOKUP only searches from the top to bottom and selects the first value by default, but XLOOKUP searches from both top to bottom and bottom to top. VLOOKUP returns not available or not applicable if return value is not found. But XLOOKUP can add custom message if return value is not found. It can add something like value not found, missing value, anything. Now let's put this in context. Let's go to Excel to see how this works. So this is the data that we're going to use. We have the VLOOKUP cell right here, and then we have the XLOOKUP cell right here. So we're going to use the VLOOKUP to find the revenue, and we use the XLOOKUP to find the first name and probably the last name. Remember, I said that for XLOOKUP, it can actually return more than one value, and for VLOOKUP, you cannot return more than one value. So let's see how this works out. Okay, so we're going to pull the VLOOKUP functions right now, and then VLOOKUP, and then the lookup value is going to be Tom, and then we put a comma, and then the table array is going to be from the first name all the way to revenue, and we put a comma, and then the column index is going to be the fifth column because that's where the revenue is. If we count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we have that, and the last value is going to be the lookup range. I usually like to take the false, the exact match, so everything works perfect. So I'm going to put false and close the parentheses. So what we have here is this value for Tom. And if you look at Tom value here, this is the exact amount that is here. Remember that I said VLOOKUP will automatically pick the first. It will look from top to bottom and pick the first value that it sees that matches. Okay, so now let's go to XLOOKUP. We're going to pull the XLOOKUP function, and then the lookup value is still going to be Tom. We want to find the first name and probably the last name. So the next one is the lookup array. So the lookup array is the column where you want Excel to search for this value that you're looking for. It's the column that has the exact value that you're looking for. So this is where it is, the first name. So I'm going to pull that and put a comma. And then the return array is the column from which you want the result. So I'm going to pick the 2 because I want multiple value. I close it. So once I close, it's able to identify the first and the last name because I picked multiple columns. Because I have the rep names listed, I can actually pick the ones that I want with validation. So if you change this, you're going to see the names changing to what you want. Let us find a value from another sheet. So I'm going to use the XLOOKUP again here. I pull the equal sign, then I find the XLOOKUP. And then I want to find the rep first name. I click on that. And then the lookup array is going to be the next sheet. This is the next sheet, the rep ID sheet that I'm going. So I'm going to pick the lookup array here, and I put a comma. And then the rep ID is going to be the return array for that cell. So I'm going to select this, and then I close that. And if I come back here, you see that the value is here. If I change this to Tom, you see that the rep ID showed here. So here's another trick that I want to show you. If we break this, remember for the VLOOKUP, we have the lookup array and it picked the entire thing. For VLOOKUP, you cannot use less than 2 columns. But for XLOOKUP, you can use only one column. You can use more than one column. But if we break the cell right here, we're going to have a problem with the return value. So let's say I insert a cell here, and you see the revenue changed because the column value that we had was number 5, and this is already giving it 6 columns from where we highlighted. So if you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and this is the problem. But if you look at XLOOKUP, the value remained whether we inserted or not. If I return this back to what it was, I delete that, we have the value back. So that's another thing. So the final thing I want to show you is if you have a value that is not part of what you want, you can actually add a custom message instead of returning not available. I'll show you that. When I come to this function right here, so here we have if not found, what should we put? So I'm going to put missing value right here. And I click OK. So if we go to any rep that is not part of this list, remember we do not have Barbie here. So if I click on that, you can see that we have missing value. And also because we do not have Barbie in the rep ID data, it gave us not available. And if I take it back to Tom, we have the value. So that's the difference between VLOOKUP and XLOOKUP. Thank you for watching.